Here are the instructions to complete the project. Title is ¿Qué tiempo hace en? We have been talking about how to describe the weather in Spanish. So now it's time to find out what the weather is like in Spanish-speaking countries. ¿Qué tiempo hace en? And here are a list of Spanish-speaking countries and their capitals. On the left-hand side are the names of the countries. On the right-hand side are the names of the capitals. So I will pronounce the names of the countries and capitals for you. Europa. Europa is Europe. And the country that's located in Europe where Spanish is spoken is España. España. La capital es Madrid. América del Norte. Mexico. So in North America, where the United States is located as well, but beneath us we have the country Mexico. Ciudad de Mexico is la capital. In the Caribbean, El Caribe. We have Cuba. La capital es La Habana. Puerto Rico. La capital es San Juan. República Dominicana. La capital es Santo Domingo. Africa. On the continent of Africa, there is a Spanish-speaking country, Guinea Ecuatorial, y la capital es Malabo. In América Central, in Central America, Costa Rica, San José es la capital. El Salvador, San Salvador es la capital. Guatemala, la capital es Ciudad de Guatemala. Honduras, Tegucigalpa. Nicaragua, Managua. Panamá, Ciudad de Panamá. In América del Sur, in South America, Argentina, Buenos Aires, Bolivia, La Paz, or Sucre. Bolivia has two capitals. So if you choose Bolivia, you can choose La Paz or Sucre. Chile, Santiago, Colombia, Bogotá, Ecuador, Quito, Paraguay, Asunción, Perú, Lima, Uruguay, Montevideo, Venezuela, Caracas. So you're going to choose one of the countries and looking at the weather, what the weather is like in the capital of that country. Here are some more instructions. So you go to Google Classroom and you look for Weather and Seasons Individual Project. When you click on it, you will see the information or the instructions for the project. You're designing a colorful and creative Spanish weather season Google slide presentation that includes the following items. So we're talking about what the weather is like in each season. We know that there are 4 seasons in Spanish. Below the instructions, you will find resources that you will need to complete the project. So the first thing you should click on is Graphic Organizer. And it's a copy that will be for you so that you will be able to type on it. So let's talk about the graphic organizer first. This is worth 8 points. You have to fill out the graphic organizer in Spanish according to the information found on the websites that you guys are going to be using to find out about the weather. So first decide on the country and look up the information about what the weather is like in that country's capital in each season. Double check all your spelling and grammar. And remember that the months of the year are not capitalized. And your weather statements should be in complete sentences. So here you will put the season that you have found information on in that country, the months that occur during this season. For instance, right now we're in winter, so the winter months are December, January, and February, but you will have to put that in Spanish and the space provided here. So you will put El Invierno here in the first space, and then numbers 1, 2, and 3, you're going to put the months that occur during this season. So in Spanish, you will put diciembre, enero, and febrero. And underneath here, you need to first go to the website and find out, let's say, for instance, you chose Buenos Aires, Argentina. Then you will type in what is the weather like in Buenos Aires, Argentina, during the winter. Okay, you can type that whole phrase in and you will find information about that, see what the temperatures are, what it's like. They will more than likely give you the average temperature, so just go with the average temperature and use your vocabulary list from the Quizlet study set to type and complete sentences in Spanish what the weather is like. So the minimum is 2. So that's why you only see 2 spaces here. The minimum is 2, but you can definitely give more weather expressions in Spanish according to the Quizlet study set. Please, again, do not use Google Translate. Use the flashcards located in the Quizlet classroom. You're going to do the same thing over here. Let's say you want to put La Primavera here, and then you will put the months that occur during this season in Spanish. You will do your research on what the weather is like. We've been using the country Argentina, La Capital, Buenos Aires as an example. So you will find what the average temperatures are in Buenos Aires, Argentina to describe the weather, and give me a minimum of 2 to describe the weather in Spanish, but you can definitely do more more phrases in Spanish to describe the weather in Spanish. Make sure it's in complete sentences. On the second page of that graphic organizer, you will put season 3, for example, El Verano. Again, what are the months occurring during that season? What the weather is like in that country's, in the capital of that country during that season. Same here for season 4, El Otoño, the fall. What are the months that occur during El Otoño, during the fall? Research that country's what the weather's like in that country's capital during that time. You're typing again everything in Spanish. You're not using Google Translate. You are only using the phrases and words that were mentioned in the Google that's mentioned in Google, in Quizlet Classroom. Now, it's important to give reference to the websites that you use. So don't forget to copy and paste the websites you use for this project on this document. Okay, so even though this is a screenshot of the graphic organizer, when you click on it in Google Classroom, at the bottom on the second page, you're gonna include the link. Now, I have included a resource for you to cite the website that you use for your research. You can either use free APA citation generator or EasyBib. These are free websites that will cite the website that you use for your research project. And once you cite it correctly, copy the information on the second page of the graphic organizer underneath these tables here. All right, and as I said before, you're not going to use Google Translate. You're going to go to Quizlet Classroom and use this information, the flashcards, to help you choose the correct weather expressions to describe what the weather is like in that capital of that country. All right, so let's look at the specifics of how you're being graded. See Google Classroom for the due date of this project. If it's late, every day that is late, you will lose 2 points. The project is worth 45 points. So of course you have to have maps of the Spanish-speaking country you have chosen. That's 5 points. You have to have visuals. That's important to make the project attractive. The graphic organizer, that is worth 8 points. And I am using a rubric that's worth 32 points. So that equals to 45. And on the rubric, these are the categories. The required elements, you have to have the Spanish months, seasons, and weather on your presentation, as well as additional information and pictures. We talked about the information that you have to have based off of what you type in your graphic organizer. Content accuracy, all labels are accurately displayed on the presentation, your Spanish months, seasons, and weather. Your mechanics, your capitalization, spelling, and punctuation are correct throughout the presentation. And it needs to be an attractive presentation. Remember, second to none in terms of the design, the layout, and the neatness or organization of your presentation. So start with the graphic organizer to help you gather all of your information that you're researching. And don't forget to cite those websites that you're using by going to the free APA citation generator or EasyBib to ensure that you're citing it correctly. And that concludes the instructions for the weather and seasons and individual project.